Gnothi Seuton, love, peace, blessing, all manner of healing to those who need it, from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. Health, wellness, goodness, kindness, joy, happiness, every single positive, good feeling, emotion, vibration unto you and your family. Gnothi Seuton, know yourself, know the truth about yourself, and the truth shall make you free. Something good is going to happen to you today, and today I want to talk about prepare for war. And in our human history, we look back and we see that when we look back at our history and see what we've went through, and when you take a look at, there is evidence, there's archaeological evidence that goes back well over 90,000 years, some even further, 140,000 years, that it's American history. So, in other words, we didn't just show up on this planet, 7,000 to 8,000 years ago. We've been here for quite some time, and our ancestors maybe even longer. But there's something that's very, very interesting, and it's called the 100th monkey phenomenon, I think, something like that. I'm not sure exactly, but basically they did a study, and there was an island where monkeys were starving, and I think what they did was they took loads of sweet potatoes over to the monkeys for them to eat, to save them. But there was something that wasn't according to their regular monkey diet. Maybe they were dirty. I'm not sure what it was, but I just know that that they had to be washed. The sweet potatoes had to be washed, and so a bunch of monkeys just looked at them, strangely, couldn't figure out, and there they were starving, and they didn't, eat the sweet potatoes, and but then all of a sudden, one monkey, which was a female, and I think like a young female, picked it up and took it to the water and washed it off, and then ate it, and obviously was nourished. And other monkeys watched her do this, and then they started to copy. But they started to copy this, and then the monkeys on this island were saved. They didn't starve. But the interesting thing is that there were similar monkeys, probably the same species, on other islands. And what happened is that once the 100 monkeys on the first island had learned how to wash the sweet potatoes, what happened was that every place else where they took the sweet potatoes to the same species of monkey, they already knew how to wash it. And I'm sure I'm paraphrasing and doing my own spin on it based on what I remember. But anyway, there's this this factor called the 100th monkey factor, or the 100th monkey whatever. But anyway, what happened is that it didn't have to be passed down through the generations. Once there was a threshold of the monkey species that had this skill, it seemed to be psychically passed on to the rest of the species without there having to be a generational inheritance, through genetics, through birth. You didn't have to be a monkey child of the smart monkeys who learned how to wash their potatoes. It was just transmitted, psychically, or however you want to, identify with it. And so what happens is that we found out that there is this type of threshold. The same thing is with the Maharishi effect, when they discovered that when the square root of 1% of a population is feeling a positive feeling, it is then released to the rest of the population, and there are measurable results. And they tested this in war areas in the Middle East, and found them to be very effective. And so what happens is that things are passed down, but things can be reversed, and they can be reversed in our generation. We don't have to wait. And one of the scientific discoveries that back this up is that we live in a holographic universe. We aren't living in the material universe that we think we're living in, or that we're led to believe that we're living in. And so since we are living in a holographic universe, everything that's contained in the big picture of the hologram is contained in the smallest part. So meaning that because we're a part of this holographic manifestation, this holographic universe, when we make the change within ourselves, it affects the whole. And so that is very, very powerful. And so when we realize that, we recognize that we all have the tools. We all have the tools to, in an instant, heal our entire planet, to return it back to the garden paradise that it was originally created as, for it to be raised up in vibration back to the heavenly realm, back to the spiritual realm, out of the dense, the dense existence that we're living in right now, in survival mode, in the lower vibrations, staying in lower vibrations, that we have the ability, just simply through our own thoughts, to literally save the entire world. And we do it personally. We don't sit around and wait for a government to do it for us. And that's probably where this all started, because speaking of archaeology and the history of humankind, we find out that when the female was permitted to be at least equal with the male in the governing influence of our planet, there was no war. When they go back that far, you can't even find weapons. I mean, they don't even find weapons back then, or anything to indicate that humans harmed other humans. For Planet of the Apes fan, ape together strong. So what happens is that when you go back far enough, and you recognize that when the female influence was strong in our culture, in our species, there was no war. And again, it wasn't like the Amazonian idea of just women ruling and everybody else is a slave. It's equal. It's equal. It's male, female, equal. You're both equal. But when we had this influence that came in and just really abused the female side, made the female side seem lesser or weaker, made us all think that the female was the cause of what they called original sin. That is when we started to fall quickly and deeply, and now we are in this current mindset, this current existence of living in survival. And we find that it's from wartime mentality. It's from preparing for war. It's from this absolute mind poison of thinking that one being is better than the other, or more entitled, or more gifted, or the royal bloodline that deserves to be served and by everybody else, and everybody else needs to be sacrificed unto them and unto their well-being. The Babylonian one king, one ruler, one head idea that is passed down through the ages, perfected by Constantine and Constantine's religion, and passed down unto us today, to where we still have, this mindset, this programming where we're, either preparing for war, or just in the back of our mind, hey, you never know. You never know when war is going to be when war is going to happen. You never know when we're going to be invaded. You never know when war is going to be upon us, or when we're going to have to go to war. And because of thousands of years of programming into our mindset and into our human consciousness, and literally into our DNA, and us being the DNA inheritors of this wartime, prepare for war mindset, that's where we find ourselves right now. But Hallelujah, that all we have to do is change our mind, recognize that this is a toxic, parasitic poison that has been imposed upon mankind, and that we've been hypnotized, we've been brainwashed unto this belief and unto this idea, so that we would simply be cannon fodder and, mindlessly march off to war for one of these parasitic influences that simply uses mankind to create its own loosh, its own negative energy to feed off of. But hallelujah. Hallelujah for the 100th monkey threshold, that we can, let it make a monkey out of me. And we can have the mindset, we can restore ourselves back to the garden, peaceful Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden, we're all equal, we're all the same, we're all connected, we're all brothers and sisters. We are all the chosen ones. We are all the best. We are all given as our birthright and inheritance of being able to experience this earth in the higher vibrations, out of the survival mentality, out of the lower chakras, into our crown chakras, and be free to manifest our own personal authentic life, to be able to understand how energy works, and to be able to understand that we all want to only release positive energy. We don't want to harm anyone. We don't want to harm ourselves, and restore the earth back to the original garden paradise through a simple choice, through a simple decision that we know we all already want: to live in peace, for our Mother Earth, for our Emirates to be raised up back to where it was in the beginning, into heavenly realms, and for us all to be able to receive and live in a free environment of our own authentic life, and have the ability by will to ascend, and to ascend into a higher angelic being, and be able to create our own kingdom of peace, love, and goodness, and to love in all ways, and to always be in love. With that, love, peace, blessing, all manner of health, wealth, goodness, healing, love, blessing, and understanding. Genothi Seuton, know yourself, know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Namaste.